Hey guys, welcome back to Angel and Angela. On this topic, we're going to talk about how the narcissist uses trauma as a bonding tool to bring you in to lure you closer to them. The main reason why most trauma bonded relationships do not work is because the narcissist's motive behind trauma bonding is either going to be sex, money, or status. These are the three main reasons why they inflict trauma on you. Nothing less, nothing more. So the narcissist might be playing some sick, twisted fantasy that they keep repeating in different relationships. So if they're a thief, they'll rob you. If it's status, they're down here, you're up here, and things aren't working out for them. They're stealing game from you. They're stealing information from you. A lot of times they're mimicking you just to get into your circle and or get connected to someone who's close to your circle, or money, so status or money. One thing that you have to realize with narcissists is that they don't have the emotional capacity that you do have. So yes, they'll trauma bond with you and be with you for years, and these are the only three things they're thinking about. It doesn't matter to them if they're dragging you down, if you're sad, if you're depressed, if you're suicidal. They don't care as long as they're getting any of these three things. And if they can't get them without your consent, then they're done. So a lot of people know that most of the time when you get with a narcissist in a relationship with them, or if you have family, friends, people that you're close to, you're connected to these people through trauma, meaning that you do not want to completely let go of the relationship because there's something that happened that's keeping you there. It's like it's that you almost feel obligated to stay there. The trauma is making you feel obligated. It's almost like going into a job and bad things are happening, like there's bad luck. But you're trying to prove to yourself that you can tolerate all the things that are going around you. And you try to tell yourself, I'm going to block everything out. I'm going to block the trauma because I've already bonded with this job. I've already got comfortable. I already know how to do my job. I know everything like the back of my head. And then, you'll have a fear. You'll have that fear of leaving and not being able to find something like it or better, right? There's that fear, or belonging to a church or something, and you've invested time, energy, you've lost friendships, you've lost family because they did not like it that you change from one church, from your family church to another. So when you're going through stages in your life, when you're growing out of that trauma and you're trying to make it to the next level, you'll be held back because of certain traumas in your life. You'll be held back because you'll be afraid, and sometimes you might think that certain things aren't connected with what's happening in your life in this current state. But sometimes you're repeating certain patterns based on what you've experienced, right? A lot of times when you look back on certain relationships, friendships with people, the trauma bond is what kept you invested, right? Because if you didn't have any trauma, if nothing happened to you, right? If you get in contact with a narcissist and they're trying to sell you a dream, and you can see through the dream, you could see through the facade, or you could see that they really don't care about you. They really, they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you an image. If you can see through that and, say to yourself, I'm not dealing with this person. Or You might deal with them, but then you know when to pull away. And you can tell yourself, I have to pull away right now because I know if I stay, I'm going to be sucked in. I'm going to be sucked in because of my own selfish needs that are not, my own selfish needs that are toxic, that I've been trying to heal. But I know if I give in to this person, I'll be sucked into that toxicity, right? And you'll tell yourself, I don't want to be or stay around this person because of the trauma or because they did something to me. And instead of me turning away and having boundaries and saying to myself, I don't deserve this, I shouldn't have to tolerate this, I'd rather stay because no one has ever done this to me. No one has ever called me out my name. No one has ever done this to me. And I want to change that person's mind. I want to change that person's perspective. You're looking at their trauma and the things that they've told you. The narcissist always has a sob story. So you're looking at the sob story instead of paying attention how they're treating you, and you're eliminating how they're treating you, more focused on their trauma. So you're like, okay, kill me. Okay, hit me. Okay, scream at me. Okay, cheat on me. Lie to me every couple of seconds. Torment me. Sleep deprive me. I forgive you because you have trauma in your life. And I understand your trauma because I've had trauma too. That's literally how you're bonding to the narcissist. And then even if you come to that analyzation, you still feel bonded to them, where it's almost like you're in jail, like you're doing a prison sentence with this person. And it doesn't matter if they separate your cells and you can't see them, you can still feel them. You still know what they're up to, what they're doing. They haven't changed. Their patterns haven't changed. And you start thinking about your own traumas and how to get through those traumas to be a better version of yourself. And when you start to evolve and you start to change, you'll start to look back and you start to realize that the only reason you had relationships with certain friends, family, certain people, it was based on trauma because you were always putting yourself in their shoes, only that they never put themselves in your shoes. They always looked at whatever you were going through as not being important. Or if you went through the same type of traumas, it's almost like your trauma wasn't as bad as mine. So you could have trauma bonded with a friend over something. They told you their problems, you told them their problems, you told them your problems, and then you're always having this friend's back, and when you're going through something, they're not around. They don't really care. They only needed you for whatever they needed you. And you're always the one to reach out. You're always the one to say, that person's probably busy. Friends don't talk to each other all the time, and then you're that person to reach out to them. They might love bomb you and say, hey, let's hang out. Let's have lunch, and they'll pay for everything. But after that, after they've figured out what's been catching up, after they figured out, what's going on in your life, you initially became friends because you trauma bonded with this person over whatever it is they went through. And you became close because you empathized with them and you thought they empathized with you. That's what built the friendship. But once they know, they catch up with whatever's going on in your life, and if they feel like you're not admiring them the way that you might have, used to, or they see that they're doing better than you, or they feel like more, if they feel superior to you, or they feel like there's more to know about you, they'll keep you around to figure out if you've been going through more things. They want to know what traumas have you been through. And then sometimes they'll start sharing things they'll catch you up on things that's been happening to them. And you're thinking to yourself, this is my friend. But really, you're trauma bonded to this person because somehow this person has been able to get into your mind to control you to believe that they're your friend. Sometimes these friends they're lying to you about their traumas, or they're over exaggerating, or they might not be exaggerating, but you'll be able to see that they'll make it seem like their life is worse than yours. So this person, could have said to you, oh, I was raised by just my mother and I have a whole bunch of siblings. I don't get along with one sibling, but all my other siblings, we get along. And then they're having gatherings and things like that. And you're telling this person, I went through the same thing. The only difference is I don't have a family, right? They'll make it seem like they're like, oh, trust me, it's not what it's cracked up to be. I have all this family and they don't do anything for me. Yeah, we get together, but, it's not perfect. Of course, nothing is perfect, but sometimes you're overlooking and you're not reading between the lines. And what that person is really trying to say is, my hardships are better or worse, I mean. And sometimes they're even flaunting that their life is better than yours, and you're just not reading between the lines, or they're sending you, they're telling you they hope you feel better, or, hey, you can come around. They start to predict that you're a sad person, that you're a miserable person, and they almost feel like if you're miserable, you can come around me and you can invest all of your energy on me, So this could be your friend, and they're almost feeling like you can invest your energy on me and my children and my kids. And then after a while, you're investing time into the friendship because now you're being a good friend to even that person's kids. But if you're going through something, they'll always redirect your conversation. If you just want to vent, instead of just letting you vent, they start, bringing up unrealistic ideas that have nothing to do with the conversation, or their mind will just drift away. They will not be focused on what you're going through because they sadly do not care. They only bonded with you because of the trauma. So sometimes we think to ourselves that people are going to be grateful, thankful that we were there for them. But in actuality, they really don't care, and sometimes, you'll even show these type of people remorse when they start going through things that maybe you haven't experienced yet, and you see that they're going through something. A lot of times you can, give your condolences to them and to their family, even after that they've never really been a good friend the way that you have. Right. But you'll give, your condolences to these people, and, they'll act like they're grateful, but they'll never show you the same type of energy ever. And you'll see, because you could have done something out of the blue just because, their name ran across your mind, and you're thinking to yourself, that person's been through a lot, let me do something to make their day better, even though we don't really see each other, So they don't think about you in that way. They're not, that's been a really good friend for, she's been a really good friend throughout these years. I'm gonna just go and do something nice out of nowhere, because she's that type of friend. Let me give back. So a lot of times, if you're not giving them all that energy every day or when they want it, they don't want anything to do with you. So what I realized with trauma bonding relationships is that you connect with people, and the reason it hurts so much is because you feel like you wouldn't do to them what they've done to you. So, you could have been outcasted from your family, right? No one had your back, and then you're turning to the people you're closest to in your family, and you're like, what about you guys? We've always been close. I know everyone has discarded me from this cult. I'm not allowed back. Once you're gone forever. I'm starting to realize that I've been outcasted from my family, and now I'm out in this world and everyone's trying to kill me. So you'll tell them, like, I know I'm better protected around you guys. I rather bond with you guys even through the trauma, because if I go out into this world, I'm afraid that I'll be scarred even more, because strangers will really not show any remorse, not even a little bit. Even if the people in front of you are the same way, sometimes you still have that trauma bond where you don't see them as being that evil. So even if they do evil things, and in that moment you're thinking that's wicked, these are people that you almost love so much that you can almost forgive them for everything and almost anything, and that's what makes it so dangerous. So you'll want to reach out to the people you were at least close to, and they'll reject you because they're like, nope, I see how everyone is treating you, and I don't want to be treated like that, regardless of the bond you thought we had. So you might think to yourself, these are the family members I was closest to. They knew me on a more personal level than all my other family members, right? And that's why you'll be so hurt when it comes to certain family members, because you feel like you were bonded with them more than anyone else, and they just allowed other people to just jump on you. So sometimes when you're eliminated, what these people who were trauma bonded to you will do is that they were used to abusing you. There is a cycle of abuse with you that you might have been unaware of. And then when you became aware of it and tried to talk to these people about it, they just shut you off. And that's when they went super hard on you, trying to destroy you, because now it's like, yeah, I've bonded with you, through this trauma that I've been inflicting on you. But now I'm going to bond for you for life, because I'm going to kill you off now, So you're thinking, so there's no love? Everything I've been doing out of love, it doesn't make sense to you, right? So then the cycle needs to continue. And what they will do is that now they'll start doing that same cycle on the people you were closest to, because chances are the people you were closest to, where you were trauma bonded to these family members that you were close to through trauma too. You were close to them because they shared more about their life with you than other family members. So you'll think to yourself, they know what I'm going through now because they're doing it to them. The cycle is continuing with them. And then when they're out on their own, you've already healed. And now they're reaching out to you. Hey, can we talk? Hey, can we meet up? And, they're talking to you like you're not family, like you're a stranger, and you're almost like you're a friend that they want to catch up with. But they done forgot about everything they did to you. And it's not about forgetting. It's more about they know you're going to be forgiving and understanding, because they feel like, okay, now I see what you were going through. But when you were going through it, they didn't want to hear you out. You have to pay attention to that. They did not want to hear you out. This is someone who is trying to trauma bond to you, and they're using your own fears to help them heal. So if they really cared about you, they would want to hear you out. But see, as an empath, you're going to tell yourself, I'm going to hear them out because I'm an empath. See, God put you through certain situations so that when people are getting their karma, you just let them take that suffering or that karma, or you could have a conversation with them, tell them about themselves, tell them about how every time you come into contact with them, they only care about themselves and their pain and what they're going through, and they're quick to brush off whatever you're talking about, right? You can do that, and you can have power and control enough to get out of that bond before they try to trauma bond you and make you feel like you should just quickly forgive them and listen to their story, because all they really want to do is tell you their story, what's happening with them. And sometimes you've been healing for years because of this, and certain things trigger you. So when someone is coming, seeking, asking you for help, it triggers you and what people did to you. And that triggering is what will let you put your guard down and say to yourself, I wish I had someone to talk to when I was going through it. Let me be there for them, because they were also under the narcissist spell. So let me have their back and help them wake up, right? What you will soon find out is that some of these people, they're only talking to you, but they don't really care about what you went through. What they're telling you, their traumas, basically saying that the same cycles are repeating with them. They're going through the same things. And they're trying to connect with you. They want you to connect with them, to believe everything that comes out of their mouth. Even when they're leaving certain parts out, they're telling you their version, and sometimes they're leaving certain things out, right? They want you to bond with them so that they can call you whenever they want, whenever they feel bad, when they feel anxiety, and they could just drop all that nasty energy on you. And you're just sitting there like, oh, I'll take it. I'll take all the bad energy. Everyone just dumps their negative energy on me. And you'll listen to these people. You'll bond with them all over again. And what will happen is that they'll start to devalue you, because they feel like they're better than you, because even though you both went through the same trauma, they almost feel like, yeah, we went through the same trauma, but your trauma really wasn't as bad as mine. Even if yours was worse, they'll say your trauma really wasn't as bad as mine. Or they'll just have this, almost like this anger, if you don't agree with certain things, or if you question certain things about their stories, or if you bring up things that they did, it's like they'll brush it off like it didn't even happen. So to you, it's like, okay, why are they brushing it off like it didn't happen? Or even if they take accountability, you could just tell it's not authentic. They're only telling you what you want to hear, but you could tell that the accountability is not really there. And they're basically telling you how the people that you're trauma bonded to never took accountability. So it's like you guys can agree to almost everything. You can agree to the narcissist characteristics and say, we both got played by the narcissist. They both did these things to me. You can agree to all these things. That's what's keeping you bonded to this person. But in actuality, this person, you're not looking at them like a narcissist. You might think to yourself, they're family, but then you'll quickly find out that when they start to heal, they won't need you anymore. It will go back to how it was, and they'll actually feel like, they'll feel like you almost didn't really help them in their healing journey. They'll make it seem like they could have healed without you. They didn't need your words of encouragement. They didn't need your guidance, even though you were the one who opened their eyes to a lot of things so that they can see things clear. They'll start using the information you've given them to help other people heal. And that's when you'll start to see that now they're treating other people better. So you'll think to yourself, I thought that after all this time I've been there for them, they would have returned the favor with some type of appreciation. But you'll see that they'll treat others better even though you're there helping them heal. Sometimes they'll breadcrumb you because they're in desperation of supply of energy. But as soon as they get energy, they have new friends to trauma bond about things with, who can gossip with them all the time. And you might be tired of the same thing, right? They know when they start wearing you down and then they don't need you anymore. And then when you talk to them, it's like you're complete strangers. And now everything you've shared with them about your trauma, they're sharing your trauma to other people, trying to bond with them through not only their trauma, but your trauma. And then they're stealing your information. They're stealing the way you talk, your words of power. And now they're giving those words of power to other people who have trauma bonded, who they have trauma bonded with. They're giving all your information to them. But it's only to gain control over them, because now they're like, okay, this is how I'm going to start my new group. So now they use this to get control over them. And so that these people can look up to them. And you'll see that these people will look up to these people that you bonded with. And now these people are acting just like you. They're talking just like you. And you're seeing it go on. They might start repeating certain things that you say. And then you start telling them, that's what I told you. I'm the one who told you that. And they don't remember. Because they just take information. They don't even remember it all came from you. But energy doesn't die, so it really doesn't matter. But that's basically what they're doing. And then they're going off to other people that have went through the same traumas, and they're bonding with them over that trauma. And sometimes they even go back to the people that hurt you. They go back to those people who they were talking so bad about. And then they give up all your information to those people just so that they can be accepted back into the group. They tell all your traumas. They go and tell those people, oh, that person's not doing so well right now, or that person's financially doing bad, or that person's health is. They're basically trying to get back into the circle by using all of your traumas that you've been going through that these people don't know about to initiate themselves back in. So they're trying to bond with them through your traumas. So you'll see that these people will bond, they'll befriend each other because they have you in common. They can bond together because they've all done bad things to you. But then when they're going through problems and they're gathering together in social settings, they're giving each other sob stories. And if you're an empath going into that circle, you're going to believe all the stories you're hearing from these people. And they're all working together as demons. It's very demonic. It's very spiritual, because it's very demonic to the point where these people believe they're good people. Some of them are aware that they're not good people. Most of them are aware that they're all pretending, and they get a kick out of it, and when certain people go back to these type of people and then they leave you hanging, they never cared about you. And then they basically tell you, your relationship is with them is separate from my relationship with them, and our relationship is separate. They make it seem like we can still get along even though I went back into the circle. We can still get along, right? They're like, we can still get along. This is what narcissists do. They want you to always be the forgiving one, always be like the mature one, the classy one. Forgive all these people for the things that they've done, right? They want you to be the mature one. But they can't be mature enough to not gossip about you, and every little thing you say, go back, run and tell other people. So they want you to be mature while they're not mature, and then they'll tell other people that you're not mature because you can't forgive, and you end up being villainized as if you're the bad person. So when you're around narcissists, if they cannot connect with you through trauma, if they can't use your traumas to connect with you, they don't like you. They don't like you because they only use the trauma to connect with you, to bond with you. And even when they do bond with you through trauma, they'll exploit you to build them up, and then they'll eliminate you. So if they can't get anything out of you at all, if they can't bond with you through trauma just to use you, then they'll just be out of there. It'll make them feel uncomfortable because it'll make them feel like you can see through them, and it'll make them feel as if you're onto them, that you understand that they're trying to use your empathy and your traumas against you. So it will make them feel uncomfortable. They'll be looking at you like, they'll want to know what you're thinking, because to them it's like, if you're not thinking about your trauma and you're not drowning in it, then how can I gain access over you? Because this is how I gain access over all of my victims, is through trauma. So I'm not necessarily saying that it's wrong to bond with people through trauma, because if you run across real people, we've all been through stuff and we can relate to one another and how we feel. But the thing is, the narcissist and you could have went through the same traumas. I mean, the same identical life, right? You could have went through the same exact traumas. This person can be your sibling, and they could have went through the same traumas as you. But something different happened to them. And sometimes the things that happen to them also happen to you. But what makes them and you different, right? What makes you different? What makes you different is that you won't go out there and exploit people based off of your own trauma, right? You might go through stages where you're angry, where you're confused, where you feel like your prayers aren't being heard and the narcissist is getting away. But once you know how empty, how sick they are, you know that that's not the case. That it's a big illusion, and it's a big illusion because you've been around them for a long time. Some of you've been around them for years, and you still think that they're going to change. The narcissist will even tell you, I'm not going to change. And you feel like you bonded over trauma, over your life stories, over going through identical struggles in your life, dealing with the same things in your current life, and these are the things that made you feel like they understood you and they were there for you. But they only use these things to exploit you, and not only that, but then they further exploit you over time. It never stops. The exploitation, the manipulation, it never stops. And you're wondering, how could I had also went through certain traumas that were identical and bonded with this person over certain traumas, but the way we think is very different. Like, it's not different. It's not different. Let me tell you what it is. When you're talking to the narcissist, right, at least in my case, we could relate to each other and talk about things and be on the same page about certain things. Or they'll say certain things that remind me of me, right? So they could sit there and they could tell me, everyone only thinks about themselves. They say they love you and things like that, but they only care about their own pain. They only care about their own suffering. And just like I broke everything down in this video on how people trauma bond with each other, and then you'll know if someone really has your back if they're not going through trauma anymore, or if you're in a good position and they're not in a good position, but they're still happy for you. And they're not trying to bring you down. They're genuinely happy for you. So you'll know based on how someone treats you, if you know they have, if they really have your back past just the trauma bond. You know, like, what if we're not bonded to each other? What if we don't have any ties to each other? Are you going to talk bad about me? Are you going to make me look bad? Are you going to tell lies about me when we're not around each other, when we're not bonded, when we're not next to each other, talking about our traumas? Are you going to backstab me? You know, are you going to downplay me, down talk me behind my back? That's going to prove to you if this person really had your back to begin with. You know, some people act like empaths, right? And you're thinking, we're going through the same thing because I'm dealing with a narcissist. And then they get back with the narcissist, and you don't judge them because of that, but you do judge them because they've given certain information to the narcissist, where now the narcissist is attacking you, and then they're not defending you, and then they start to side with the narcissist and believe the narcissist lies. And you know, it's almost like all the energy you put onto them, it didn't mean anything to them. And then you start to realize that when you're going through hardships with narcissists, this is why most people don't really want to talk to you, or they talk to you a couple times and then they're like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Or they'll even tell you, you know, I feel like I'm being used. And you're like, well, that's what friends are for. You're supposed to be there for me, right? I've been there when you were going through it. So you'll see that when you're going through certain situations, people won't have the patience for you at all. And then some people you've had the patience for, but when it's happening to you, they won't have patience for you. And that's how you know someone really does not mess with you, you know. So once you realize, you know, that you're just basically connecting with the narcissist through trauma, you're trying to come up with the conclusion that something has to be wrong if you both have been through the same things. You can both point out the evil things that others are doing. You know, how fake people could be. You're bonding with the narcissist because you're like, yeah, people do switch on you. They do these things, you know. So you're analyzing things at the same time the narcissist is analyzing things, and you're thinking you're on the same page, but they're only learning these things sometimes right along with you, so that they can learn how to manipulate situations even better, because now you've told them something that they're going to remember, and now they're going to use this in their triangulation, right? So you'll bond with them, and then you'll wonder, why do we share so many things that we can agree with? The only difference is that I really care about you and you don't care about me, right? We think alike when it comes to certain things, but there's something off about you because you're trying to use all these things against me. You claim that everyone's fake, everyone does stuff to you, no one wants to see you happy, but I've done nothing but sacrifice my time so that you can be happy. I've always supported your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. I've always told you you could do better. You could do anything you want to do. Times where I could have sought revenge, I didn't seek revenge because I have loyalty to you. But then, the moment you disagree with something that they say, or your viewpoint on something that they did is different, they know something's different about you. They're like, there's something different about you. Not only that, sometimes they're telling you fictitious stories, and they're manipulating you because they know you believe everything they say, because they're like, you're falling in love with this person. You're thinking we went through the same traumas, even though they're kind of different, right? But the narcissist is looking at it like, you don't really know my life. You don't really know my traumas. You think you do, but you don't. How do you not know if the traumas, the things that I've talked about, are just things to relate to you, to make us trauma bond with each other? Because that's what I do with a lot of my victims, is I bond with them through trauma, through their traumas, and then I inflict more trauma in their life. How do you know anything that I say is true? So then you'll start to think there's something different about the narcissist. They're evil, they're wicked, there's like a lack of remorse, empathy. They're constantly lying. They're constantly telling you fake stories, making themselves seem more important, making up fake characters in their life, fake friends, fake friendships. When they meet people, there's people that might not look at them like friends, just acquaintance, and the narcissist is like, that's my best friend. It's like they make up in their mind what certain people, who and what they're going to be to them. And when it doesn't work out and people don't like them, because eventually they start to see how delusional they are, or they start to see that they're very materialistic, or they start to see that they lack remorse. And the narcissist, they're bonding with this person because they're thinking, I thought you lack remorse too, because they're bumping into people they assume are narcissists because they're behaving like narcissists. And a lot of times some of those people are really not narcissists. They're playing the game dirtier, and the narcissist is going to another level, and they're like, oh, wow, I thought everyone was narcissist, and I believed all of these rumors I heard about these people, and those rumors were created by narcissists to bring those people down. And then those people see through the narcissist, and then, and now the narcissist is obsessed with them, because they figured them out, and they're trying to prove that that's not who they are, and they'll keep coming around. Even if those people don't want the narcissist to come around, they'll still keep coming around, because the narcissist wants to make sure that that you didn't break them, that they don't care if you figured them out. The narcissist basically wants to say, I don't care if you figured me out. I don't care if you finally realize that I'm not really a victim. I don't care if you don't believe that I'm not a victim. I don't care if you don't believe my stories, because some of my stories are true. Some of my stories are true, but it doesn't take away the fact that there's something different about me. There's something different about me, and there's something different about you. And yeah, we both went through traumas and things like that, but I'm handling it differently from you. I understand how you feel. I understand what you're talking about. I'm not completely crazy. I just don't care, because I only care about my own traumas. And I understand what you're saying. I understand how you feel. I feel like that too. But it's more important for me to survive, because no one else is going to help me. And you're thinking to yourself, no one else is going to help me either. What I'm saying is, if we can agree on all these things, we can make our lives easier. And the narcissist is like, I don't want to make my life easier. I want to get it on my own. I want to get it on my own, because when I get it on my own, I won't be bonded to anyone through that success. Meaning that it doesn't matter if they used you or if they stole from you. To them, it's like, I stole it on my own. I conned it on my own. I'm the biggest con. They like the attention that they get when they tell their stories, only that not everyone is turned on by those stories. They won't even want it. They would rather be bonded through trauma than being bonded through success and knowing that you got something out of it. And then they'll blame you because they know you're their only way out. So then they'll blame you and they'll say that you're trying to stop them from succeeding. But it's only because they want to be able to use your trauma to exploit you so that you don't get nothing out of it. So they're very calculated. So certain narcissists, you might think to yourself, they're not calculated. They didn't, they weren't being strategic. It just so happened like this. No, it's always strategic. A lot of, people can say, these people, it's a lot of magical thinking. They're delusional. That's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think. They want you to think that they're delusional or that it's an act for attention. They want you to keep coming up with ideas of the simple fact that they're just evil. You're like, no one could be this evil. Like, why would they do this? Why would they tell me what I want to hear? Why not? That's how they're looking at it. Why not? Because it's fun? Because you believe it? Because I'm bored? Because I have nothing to do? Because you're feeding into my energy? Because I like to see what I did to others. I like to see that I could have motivated you, or I could have not talked down on you when you had important things going on, but it made me feel good to destroy you because it's a competition. I'm competitive. I want to be admired. I want to be hated. I want to be the most hated, the most hated, the most wanted, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'll be the villain. I like being the villain. It's fun. People like the villain. People like the villain. The hell? It's interesting. It's fun. And, I have people around me that, they fuel me. They fuel me. The narcissist wants to literally drag you to their world. And then you're stuck in this world, in the spiritual realm. You feel like you don't belong to yourself anymore. And, to them, it's like, okay, now you know how I feel. And you're just like, what am I going to do out here? What am I going to do in this world? Because when I was in that other world and everything, when I was listening to you tell me all these lies, I was so easily manipulated to believe these things, even if they didn't make any sense. So now I'm living in this other world where everything makes sense. And there's monsters everywhere feeding off of people. And those people that they're feeding off of are turning into monsters themselves. And I feel like the only way out of here is to be a monster myself. But I know I can't. So you guys are just going to have to kill me now. That's what trauma bonding does to you. It's like the bond is so deep, you just want to end everything because you feel like it's the only way that it's going to set you free, because now you can't look at certain things or you can't trust people enough to fall in love with them the way you did with the narcissist. So the narcissist is like, oh, now you know how I feel. I can't connect to people. That's how I wanted you to feel. But you're still holding on to them, hoping that it's a nightmare. And I know this because it's been times where I'm thinking I'm in a nightmare. I'm crying, shedding tears, and the narcissist is just like wiping my tears. Oh, you really love me, don't you? And then just staring at me with like an evil look for a while. And then looking at me and they're like, oh, now you know how I feel. And then they bring you down to this world where you don't have anyone. And they're living in this underworld, but they're connected to so many narcissists. And it's like, hey, you're just going to bump into another monster. So good luck. You're not protected by me. I'm not here to protect you. I'm not here to save you. I'm not here to educate you. You better had, turn the lights on and actually understood what I did. Because if you don't understand what I just did, you'll just be someone else's fool. If I have to live with this pain, you should be able to live with this pain. Oh, it's not easy to succeed in life now, huh? First you were all cheerful, all happy. I couldn't break your self-esteem. I tried and I tried. Look at you now. I finally broke you. And I used love against you. That's all I did. I used love against you. The most powerful tool. Take notes. Take notes. You could do the same. So they know they're completely different from you. That's part of the trauma bonding, is that they have trauma, but it's kind of like going through the same thing with a sibling, but they turned out the opposite from you. There's something just different about them, where they just don't feel anything. They don't want to hear you talk. They don't want to hear your perspective, because it's only what they think matters, and whoever's in their world should just be a puppet and be exploited. It's always manipulation from the very start, from the very first conversation. And, you want to believe that they have like feelings, you want to believe that they have feelings, even if it's not for you, it's for themselves, right? But if they really love themselves the way they claim they do, they wouldn't make it their mission to hurt others. The only reason they want to hurt others is because they're hurting. At least that's what you will tell yourself. So retract. You will tell yourself they're not really happy because, if they were happy people, they wouldn't hurt other people and try to make them feel the way that they feel. That's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think, because you think from a place of empathy. You know what I'm saying? You speak from a place of, in their world, that will be considered magical thinking in their eyes. In their eyes, you're freaking crazy. They're like, you're freaking crazy. Because in their world, it's like, you can't tell me I'm not happy because I'm doing certain things to people and bringing them to my level. I'm just stronger than them. That's all it is. I'm just stronger than them. Life is hard. So if to me, it's like I'm giving that energy, my God. I'm sacrificing you to my God. I'm doing my God a favor. You don't think from that perspective, so it's easy to confuse yourself. But then they're telling you that's not what it is. That's cliche. They're constantly enraged. They're constantly upset. They're constantly angry. Sometimes they try to take themselves away from that rage and distract themselves with supply. But once that supply is not excited anymore and they're used to the narcissist and they get comfortable, that's when the trauma starts. So they're like, oh, you're comfortable now because we connected through trauma. Now you're sitting back, you're chilling now, right? I don't want you to feel safe, because I don't feel safe right now. I don't feel good right now, even though I should. I don't feel good. So they'll create problems out of nowhere, and they'll almost make it's like if you finally trust them and get comfortable, they're like, you shouldn't trust me and get comfortable, and now you've became boring to them, and now they're looking for a new supply, and they're bonding with people through trauma. So, they'll be that person who befriends you, and they're sitting there giving you advice about your husband or your wife, and they're telling you, you should just get a divorce. You should just break up with that person. Knowing relationships go through problems, and knowing that your partner is not really a narcissist, so they're constantly the type of people that, try to break up happy homes because they envy people who connect with each other through traumas and things like that, but who genuinely actually care about each other, who don't exploit one another's feelings and emotions and devalue to the lowest of the low level. They'll sit there and try to break up people's literally happy homes. So if they're, hanging out with a friend, and they're like, oh, this friend of mine, he has a lot of money, he's successful, but he's a married man, and the narcissist will try to persuade that person to have a good time with them, invite random women, and there's no boundaries to the narcissist because they're trying to bond with you through trauma, meaning that they know you're going to traumatize your partner by cheating. So now once you've cheated and your partner doesn't know about it, the narcissist feels like, I'm your best friend because I just got you to cheat on your spas, and I'm not going to say anything, bro. Then the narcissist will feel as if, okay, now I have trauma bonded this person, because if they do get caught, this is the benefit from the situation, is that if they don't get caught, I look good. And if they do get caught, I'll be the friend that, that's going to be there for them, that they can talk to, that they can hang out with. And I'll be the one to hook them up with people. I'm going to find people to hook him up with. I'm going to, hey, let's see if my new supply has any new friends, any friends for this person. Come to my house. It's the party house. It's the fun house. So you'll have narcissists mixed in with certain people that aren't full-blown narcissists, but they have narcissistic traits. And, the narcissist lured them into their world right along with these Jezebels. So now you can have, now if you continue being in the playhouse, now you start to be bonded with these Jezebel spirits. And even if you want to go back to how things were, you won't feel good inside. You won't feel the same. You'll feel confused. You'll feel like you don't even remember your wife anymore. You don't really remember her, how it used to feel to be with them, to just be with them. And the narcissist likes that, because now they're trauma bonding you to different people, and you're doing it free willingly, and they're just watching it, hoping that your life falls apart. Another thing that they will do is that they will start bringing their supplies around their friends that they, sabotaged, and they'll just act like, hey, it's your fault. You got caught, because they feel like they've been doing this longer, to where they're way sneakier, and they're always throwing that person off. They even, make sure that their supplies sometimes even live in different directions. So to them, it's like, I already knew you were going to get caught. You guys live, 10 minutes from each other. I knew eventually something was going to happen. So, this is why sometimes their friends expose them and you're thinking they're narcissists, but a part of them is angry at the narcissist, and the narcissist knows this. They'll stick around, like, because they know, hey, you're going to get bored being alone, and I'll always be available to play with. To them, everything is a joke. It's all funny to get into people's worlds and impact your life in a big way, and when you get back on your feet and, your spouse forgives you, and now you're not willing to go out of your way anymore for the narcissist. The narcissist will still, befriend you, and they feel like anything that you do that's successful, you're only doing it to impress them, to show them that, almost like you're trying to compete with them. So to them, it's like, you're just trying to compete with me. I'm not jealous of you. I don't care how much you have. That doesn't mean anything to me, because in their mind, they have already had access to controlling you. And because of this, they feel like they'll always be trauma bonded with you, because when you were getting all that bad luck, they were there with you. And you almost kind of feel like, well, at least they were there for me when I was going through that. Yeah, they weren't, listening to me, or they were flaunting things, but it was better than being alone. Or, you start connecting with their friends and their family, and you're thinking everyone, sees you as family. So when they trauma bond people during during those darkest moments, that's when they'll pretend like they're happy. That's when they'll, oh, not to brush you off, I know you're going through a lot, but I just got a new promotion, or, I just bought a new car, or, that's when they get really excited. They're feeding off of energy. So now they feel like they're invincible. They feel like they're better. They feel like you were once the man, and now you're not that man. You're on the same boat with them. So it's like, we're all in a competition, and whoever shows up with more is winning, but they're all just pitiful people. And when they're getting ready to lose their families and everything that makes them happy, and they realize none of these women that my friend's been hooking me up with are, none of them are bonded to me in an intimate way where they understand me in and out, right? Who won't make it about themselves, who caters to me, and who tells me when I'm wrong, who's willing to tell me when I'm wrong. These people, this narcissist has me hooking up with, they're just living in la la land, like in a fairy tale land, and they never tell me when I'm wrong. They're just there to enjoy the ride and take my money. And the narcissist feels like I should be happy to do that because I have a good job. And now I'm putting in money to have a party with the narcissist. And the narcissist is like, I'll go half, you go half. And now all your finances are being wasted on the narcissist and you having fun. And it's almost like the narcissist is in a relationship with you. And now they're sucking up all your time, want to be riding around with you, they want you to hook them up with a job, like they can't get their own job. And now they're trying to trauma bond with you as their best friend, as their partner, as their friend, and then when you go against them and you're like, no, I'm not leaving my family. They'll start to develop feelings for the Jezebel spirits that they're bringing around you. And they're trying to lure them in to cheat with them so that they can trauma bond you further and then sit around and tell you that it was her coming off on him, but he already knew the type of female he brought around, and he already knew that that was going to be his plan to make you look like a fool. And then, then you won't have them around to heal, to be around, because they've messed your whole program. And now they're kind of like, hey, I have my own thing going on, and I'm not going to give you access to me because I know you're going to try to ruin what I have going on. So now they don't want certain friends around their supplies. They want to come around only on their terms by themselves. Then to top it off, they're telling the supplies, my friend is jealous of me because all his girlfriends want me. And then when he gets around my girl, he wants to flirt with my girl. And a lot of times people are trying to get back at them and you don't even know why. They're making it seem like it's for no reason. But a lot of times the narcissist is the one doing it to them. And the narcissist will tell you it's them doing it to them. And it's just to further victimize themselves and further trauma bond you with them, so that when they finally get over on you, you're like, wait, you said that's what your friend was doing and it was actually you. So a narcissist will always play the role of confusion, but they know exactly what they're doing. So it's kind of like, I'm going to mess with you. And when you can't take it anymore and you start to mess with me, I'm going to tell everyone you're messing with me. This is literally how they trauma bond almost with everyone. It's all a big joke. Now they're mad. They don't really spend time with you as much. They're still your friend, but they can't have fun like they were having before. They can't use your finances to have fun. They don't want to hang out with you every day. Now it's only in their term. Whenever they're bored and they want to come and talk to you, or, and a lot of times they'll even hit on your wife or your partner and tell them that you were cheating. They'll be the ones to tell them sometimes because they wanted what you had. So they fooled you, trauma bonded you, and now they will move on with your partner if your partner is weak enough. And sometimes it doesn't go as planned. It doesn't happen the way the narcissist wanted it to go. So guess what they'll do? They'll lie. They'll say that your partner flirts with them all the time. They'll say, every time I come visit my friend, his girl she likes me. And that's not even true. That she's just being cordial. She's just being nice. And she's treating them like they would treat anyone. They're a good person, but they'll use, they're kind, they're good, and the trauma they've created in that relationship, working like a devil, the drama they've created, even though everyone had free will, to them, that's why they're bonded to that friendship, because of the trauma and the things they've went through together. And sometimes when you're with the narcissist, bad luck follows the narcissist. And a lot of times when you're friends with these people, bad luck follows you. And when the bad luck happens, these people don't really even have your back. And even if they say they do, behind your back, they're pillow talking bad about you and calling you names and calling you a sucker and saying all these things, just because they were able to control your mind and get you to do certain things that they know when they try to make you do certain things because they want to drag you down to their lifestyle. And when it doesn't work and you go back to what because you know that this person almost, you almost destroyed yourself because you were changing into someone you probably didn't recognize. you know Now this person is bad mouthing you. They're saying that you're a sucker, that you're always paying for meals, you're always paying for drinks for the friends to have fun, that it was them with the master plan to get you to do whatever they want. And now that they can't make you do whatever they wanted you to do, and you've realized, hey, you never really controlled me. What happens is that these people will stick around just to make the narcissist angry. They'll stick around when they know what the narcissist is doing, and they're like, if the narcissist is being fake with me, I'll be fake with them. Because I'm bonded to them through trauma. We're not really friends. They destroyed certain things in my life, and my life hasn't been the same. And we have history, we have friends, we have families that know each other, but we're not really friends. So when I speak to this person and I speak to them about my success and the good things that are happening in my life, I know this person isn't really happy for me, but I still wanted to call them and tell them. And the narcissist is hanging up, and they're thinking to themselves, oh, my friend just got a new car, screw him, he's a sucker, he's this, he's that. I don't have a problem with him. Then they'll clean it up. I don't have a problem with them. And sometimes these stories aren't even true. None of this stuff is going on. They just want you to know that they don't really like this friend, because in actuality, they know that they have really good friends around, and sometimes they're being competitive because they know that they're going to devalue you, and they don't want you to go around people that they know telling them what you're going through, the trauma they're putting you through, because they don't want others to tell you what they've done to others in the past, and they don't want you to bond with other people according to the trauma bond that you two have with one another. So they don't want other people to get close to you because of the trauma, but you'll see that they'll try to relate with your trauma with your friends and your family. So they'll go around your friends and family and talk about the trauma that they've created and blame it on you. And at the same time, try to get these people to bond with them based off of what they've done to you. And that's where you'll see people's loyalty. Like, you're supposed to be loyal to me, and you're falling for the narcissist's charm, the exact same charm that I warned you about, that I told you I went through, and now you're being charmed by them. Another tactic that will be used is that these people could actually get along, and they get along through their trauma, but they understand each other, and they allow each other to manipulate people, and they pretend like they're not friends, like they have, certain positions in the group where certain people are excluded. But in actuality, they're all working together. Because when the narcissist, tries to bond with other people, they bond with people that they know you might not have a perfect relationship with, or that they know that you haven't figured out that they don't really care about you. So those are the people that they'll usually target to basically put you in a deeper trauma, meaning that they'll date your friends, they'll date your family members, they'll, and then they'll speak about forgiveness and how things just happen like that, and move on, and you have to eventually move on from these situations. So, they trauma bond you when you've never really been close to anyone before, or they know that based on your personality that or your age, they know that you haven't had certain things, and the things that you haven't had, they'll love bomb you with them, because they know that if you're being love bombed and you're impressed with the crumbs that they're giving you with, if you're impressed by the crumbs, they feel like you'll basically, you won't really make a thorough background to see if everything that they have been telling you is actually validating, or if it's true. They know that, hey, you're going to feel like, hey, I'm being treated in a way that I'm not used to. And that's what keeps you around trauma bonded with the narcissist, because they make you feel like they understand you, and then they start breadcrumbing you. And to them, those are breadcrumbs. And to you at that time, those breadcrumbs might feel like everything. It feels like larger than life. You appreciate the breadcrumbs, but eventually, as human beings, we always want more. And when you start wanting more and you start realizing it was just breadcrumbs, that's where you'll see who they really are. And to them, it's like, well, if I can't breadcrumb you anymore, then there's no point. If I can't be in control and hand feed you, if you're not feeding into my lies, there's no point. If you are finally in control of your feelings and your emotions and who you are as a person, and you're in control of your trauma, and you understand your trauma, and you're going to change toxic traits about you, then this isn't going to work out, because I feed off of toxicity and trauma. So it's not going to work out, because I'm not really as traumatized as people think I am. I don't even feel anything anymore. I'm really numb. Every time I have conversations, I'm just keeping these conversations going, and it's taking a lot of energy out of me, because I really don't even want to talk. I just want you to do whatever I tell you to do. Give me what I want when I want it. I don't even care about satisfying you. I don't care about your own personal needs. And if you feel like you've healed and you're in tune with God, I don't want to be around you. You make me feel uncomfortable. You make me feel uncomfortable because I feel like every time I'm lying, which is every 2.5 seconds, every time I'm lying, I feel like you're seeing through me, and it makes me uncomfortable. And this makes me hate you, because you should have just stayed trauma bonded to me and drove yourself into insanity until you end up dead. That's what you should have done. There's no remorse with these people. If anything, they hate you. And now everything you've ever done for them, you'll think to yourself, it's not about the relationship. It's about, I really had your back and you played me, right? It's about, the manipulation, the exploitation, the fake stories, the stuff that they say just to keep you feeling like you're connected to them, the fake facades, the fake friendships they have with people, the fake admiration. They made you believe that everyone admires them. They tried to triangulate you to make themselves seem more valuable. It's about their delusional thinking, their magical thinking. It's about the fact that you can sacrifice years for this person's dream to happen, and then their dream never really happens, and then you're like, why did I go hard for this person's dream to happen, and I should have been focused on my own dreams? And now, they don't want to put any efforts into your dreams. Instead, they're trying to stop you because their dreams didn't happen. And now when your dreams don't happen because they've stopped you so many times, now they feel like they have you because they feel like you're now a prisoner to me. And that's my whole thing, is to have prisoners connected to me, because it doesn't matter how much you want to get out of that warfare. You need to forgive me for you to ever be at peace. And the narcissist knows that forgiveness is very hard when you don't feel like you got your justice. And this is why they'll keep the facade that everything is going good with them, even when you can clearly tell that there's something going on in their minds. They don't want to talk to you about it. Any other time they want to trauma bond with you over their problems. But this time when they're going through something for real, they don't want to tell you about it. Meaning that they've bonded with you over fake trauma because they're always running their mouth. All of a sudden you're going through something, you don't want to talk about it because there's no truth in you, and they don't ever want you to feel close to them, so they won't tell you what they're going through. And they'll make it seem like you already know what I'm going through. I've already told you, and everything they told you is their lies. They're thinking about other things. They're just not inviting you into their world because it would make it feel a little bit more real to them that you know something about them. And in their mind, if they tell you any truth, they feel like you'll try to use it against them. And they're like, this is why I do this to you, because if they almost feel like they have to beat you to the punch, they have to use all these things against you. They slander you, and then they won't, everything they've ever told you about them, their traumas, a lot of it's fake or it's twisted around in circles. And if you ever get mad at them and try to expose them, they're looking at you like, you look so dumb trying to expose me, and the things that you're saying about me aren't even true. I just said those things to trauma bond you with me and then inflict more trauma on you. You don't even know me. You don't really know me. You think you know me. You thought you know me. So what if I talked to you about my problems? So what if you helped me when I was at the worst times of my life? You came through for me. Who cares? Who cares? I could have done the same for you. So they'll trauma bond you, and then they'll stick around, basically meaning that the relationship won't ever be the same, but they'll always be willing to open that door if you allow them. And if they're not willing to reopen that door, sometimes it's because they're a complete different person, that to the point where you won't even recognize them because they look so drained and so beat up. And you could see that there's no light in them. There's no brightness. There's no joy. The twinkle in their eyes, the twinkle in their smile that they once had with you, it's gone. They just look dead, evil, mean, manipulative, hungry, predatorial. They just look crazy. They can't even keep their insanity in place around you because they know they've already made themselves too comfortable with you. And the closer you are with them, the more they let you see who they really are. So I hope that this message was helpful. I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace in your healing. If you guys are new to this podcast, don't forget to subscribe. If you guys want to book a session with me, give me about 24 hours to respond to you. My booking information will be on the description. And as always, I'm sending you guys lots of love, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.